It's not very often that an actually good new FPS game comes to my attention, especially not one that is following a roguelite formula, but I have been playing one and I've got to share it with you today because this really does feel very much like Halo meets Hades, and I love it. This game is called RoboQuest, and I want to tell you about why I think this game is freaking awesome. I want to tell you how it makes it tick, like how it works and what makes it so good, and then sort of give you my final thoughts on it. So RoboQuest, this game is overwhelmingly positive on Steam. It came out in 2023. It's developed by Rise Up Studios. It's an indie studio. It's an indie game. It mostly floated under the radar. This is essentially their first real game. They've made a couple of like family-friendly VR games or something, but other than that, haven't been able to find a whole lot of other stuff that they are doing. And that's what makes this so really special, because the gunplay is so good and so tight that you're kind of like, these guys understand what makes video games fun. Because at the end of the day, that's my mantra. Have fun, like just have fun, and this game is that. There were so many times I was playing this game and I was like, oh man, this is just so much fun. I'm having so much fun with this game. It's totally true. So essentially, here's how it works. It's a roguelite game with runs. There's a skill tree in between the runs, and there's stops in between encounters where you get new weapons and different buffs that you purchase. That's how it works. And power cells are what you pick up in the game, and they're that in-game currency. You see right here, I'm at one of them, these rest stops during encounters or in between encounters, and I can spend power cells. I can get my health buffed by 30%. You know, I've got my little team there that helps me out. So you're getting power cells during the game to use as in-game currency. You're also getting wrenches, and the wrenches you use in between runs to hit your skill tree. And the skill tree give you little buffs along the way. You get more health over time, more weapon damage, things like that. You can also, over time, you unlock new classes of bots to play that have a special buff applied to them that activates with, I played this on PC, so it activates with Q. Like in this game, you can see, in the center it says Q to hit that, and that will essentially, when it goes up to 100% like it is now, I can activate it and it'll give me 6 seconds of invulnerability. It's called the Bastion. But let's talk about the weapons here, because I would say the weapons and the gunplay are by far the best parts of this game. You just get to use so many different weapons that it makes every single run feel so different, and you can mix up your encounters like crazy. There is never a lack of weapons. If you're like going into a run and you're like, oh, I'm just not happy with this weapon, right? You ever felt like that in Hades, where you're going, you pick the weapon and you're like, oh gosh, I wish I didn't pick this weapon. This just does not feel good. I hope I die soon. You don't have to feel like that in RoboQuest, because you are always picking up new weapons, or you're buying them in between encounters or whatever. Enemies will drop weapons, etc., and they will be at increasing levels as you go up. You can also use power cells to upgrade your current weapons, right? And you can have 2 equipped at a time. And so right now here, I've got this like splasher weapon. I really enjoy it. Like this was a good run when I was shooting this. It was a lot of fun. And then on the other one, I think I have like a grenade launcher type thing, or maybe it was an elemental thing, because that's the other thing. Yeah, you can see it right here. I'm shooting an elemental. I think it's like a cold thing, like a frost ability. So there's elemental damage, and there's regular damage, and there's all these different weapons. You have like dual pistols, dual shotguns, dual SMGs, like dual micro SMGs. You have gigantic shotguns. You have like all these different types of weapons, like grenade launchers, like hatchets, bows and arrows. Like there's so many different types of weapons that you can play with. It's so much fun. Oh my gosh, it's so much fun. The weapons make it so interesting. You just saw me pick up this frog prince item. These are these other items. They act like, rings or amulets, or, they're just like passive buffs that happen there. So that's really, really cool. So that's really one of the best things about the game. When it comes to the actual combat, I mean, you can see it here. It's just so fast paced. I mean, if you stand still, you die. You have to keep moving all the time because there's a bullet hell type deal going on here, which you can tell. And it also, and this is quite interesting the way it does this, it really incentivizes and really requires aggressive play. You have to get in there and play aggressively. So you'll see if you hit F on the keyboard, you hit your bash ability. You can also jump on heads for damage. And those things, as well as just killing enemies in general, drop health orbs. So every time you kill an enemy, you see the green things flying out of them, that's health. It's your only way to get health during runs, except for those encounters in between where you get your health robot buddy and he gives you 30% of your health or whatever if you level him up. That's it. So you have to play aggressively. You can't just sit back there and just sort of park and then just shoot, park and shoot, and just wait for things to happen. There's also level up abilities. You see, I just leveled up, and then I can get new upgrades, and I can just choose. So this one is going to allow me to do that, you know? Roguelite type stuff right there. But just look how fast-paced the combat is. It is just so much fun to run and jump and dodge and just to use all these different types of weapons, some of which have different fire rates than others and different damages, and some of them are arrows and some of them are bullets and some of them are bombs, and it makes it so much fun to run around with all of this. And this bullet hell style, you know, is very interesting. The enemy variety is also constantly changing. You see, every time you go up, so now I'm in the second area here in the gameplay footage that you're seeing, and you see that the enemy variety is a little bit the same, but now we've added these folks having armor or buffs, and you have to kill the robot that is deploying the shield around the other robot to be able to get to that one. And so it gets a little bit harder. You also saw these mini-boss type enemies, which are these gigantic dudes that just rip you to shreds, and they also hack you, and they make you come towards them. Right? And if you don't have your Bastion buff on, if that's what class you're playing as, you're a bit screwed, right? You can't really do anything. You're just dragged over there. You can see how fast-paced this is, and you don't need, this is a great Steam Deck game if you want to play these games with a controller, because it is very low resource. Like, you're easily pulling in 240 FPS on this game. You're also encouraged to take these extra pathways. If you take these sort of special purple pathways that you see in the game, then you can get these extra buffs, and that's awesome because it's a little bit of a risk because, you know, obviously health is a pretty scarce resource here, especially as you're just beginning, and then you have to, you know, get through a bunch of waves of enemies, and then you get to actually get there. But it's super, super interesting, and it's sort of structured as going after speed. Like, you get a rank at the end of a certain area that you go through, and then it's like A rank, whatever. But that doesn't really matter at the end of the day. It's just really just, it's like Hades. It's just stay alive, get as far as humanly possible, try again. It's just a ton of fun to play. It's really, really fun. It's maybe balanced a little weird. I would say that progression is just a bit slower than I would like. The wrenches don't make a huge difference, and you don't get them very quickly. So you're gonna have to like put in just a bit of grinding here to actually get to where you want to go. But it's just a minor complaint. Biggest complaint's probably the story, because there just isn't one. I mean, there technically is, I think. I couldn't tell you what it was. Something about a girl meets a robot, and then they have to just go kill a bunch of robots. Like, that's it. That's all I got for you. That's all I know. But it really is a special, special game, and I just really wanted to share this with you because it's rare that I come across an FPS game that actually feels fresh to me. There's just so many Halo-likes on the market, COD-likes on the market, but this, it feels very different, very unique, and the core stuff is there, which is the gameplay. I love that. Okay, you should check it out. It's about 25 bucks on Steam. I think I got it free through Humble Bundle at some point. I mean, like, this is really a game that's well worth picking up at a developer, well worth supporting. Hey, I'm still a small channel at the time of this recording, so, you know, like and subscribe goes a long way, and we'd love to have you as part of the community. Okay, have a good day, and don't forget to have fun.